Let's take you through the grid for race 7 of the meeting so far. Heat 2, Senior Rotax. On pole position, it's going to be Tommy van der Stroys and Luca Thiel on the front row. Enzo Bol and Mika van der Parvet will be on row 2. Row 3, Tom Langlois and Jasper Leenerts. Row 4, it's Robbie Stodder and Ralph van der Parvet with Sebastian Koch and Sverre Ubben rounding out the top 10. Bram Plomp will be joined by Macaulay Bishop on row 6. Kevin Navis and Scott Westhovens on row 7 with Jake Bezelbeck and Mateo Denkovic on row 8. Jaden Teen and Martin Gaiskens row 9. Completing the top 20, it's Lawrence Herboz and Vincent van Kerkhoffen. Joris Schoens and Puck Gubbles row 11. Row 12, Wout Kersens and Freddie Ingram. Then next up, 25th and 26th, it's going to be Aidish Mehta and Alexandre Lemaire-Sicre, followed by Iva Anagnostiadis, Dante Sima, Baptiste Michadier, Manolo Senda, Lloyd Hare, Giorgio Markenstein, and Daniel Stell, rounding out the 33-strong grid. 10 minutes plus 1 additional lap. Pretty much it looks like everyone was on slick tyres. I am keeping my eyes outside the commentary box. Oh, and I've just seen rain. Yes, rain's coming again. If these drivers are on slick tyres, the rain's coming down again. Oh, dearie me, this pendulum swing of the microclimate here at Karting Genk is could be a bit frustrating. We might be at that point, but depending on how hard the rain comes down, will be dependent on whether race director Martin Leiner has to make an executive decision and call for a delay for people to get onto wet weather tyres. But some might have already have done so. But it's just about how brave you want to be at this point. So I did notice the front row were on slicks at the very least. But so the red lights are on the gantry. This more than likely will be class, I think possibly a full start. But they are now slowing to a crawl. Red lights on the gantry. Lights are on. Lights are out. We're on away. As the seniors hurdle their way through into turns 1 and 2. Van der Stroys leads the way. As it's going to be a dive up the inside as there's absolute chaos. A little bit further back. 2 carts going off. Luca Thiel has got the race lead. Second, it's Enzo Bol. As it's 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Oh my goodness me. And someone... There's a couple of drivers, I think they're all starting to fall off the circuit. Yes, they are. There's some drivers that have gone off the circuit at turn 5, coming on to 6 ever to rejoin the circuit. My goodness me, that was a drama and then some, one of which was the 353. And that was Scott Westhovens, who started down in 14th, and he's ended up 33rd and last. As we have got 1 kart off of turn 2, driver out of the kart, walking unassisted. Everyone's slipping all over the place. It's like an ice rink through turn 10. Driver's trying to apply the power. The back end steps out to the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and the traction is at a premium. And still, there's more drive. Look at what's happening at the back end of the field coming out of turn 12. As now, that's going to be a change for the race lead. That's Mika van der Parvet. Van der Parvet has got through on Luca Thiel for the race lead out of turn number 3. And I cannot believe I'm going to say this again. The rain that I'm seeing outside of the right-hand side of the commentary box window is intensifying. And you can see that the rain is starting to come down. So we have got yellow flags at Marshall Post 1. Someone's off on the outskirts of turn 2. It's actually Jaden Teen. Jaden Teen's got it's Jaden Teen who's got the race lead, it looks like, possibly. Just going to wait to see. Well, someone's got the race lead and has got a country mile and a half ahead of everybody else. Look at this. Everyone's sideways. And that's the 396. That is Ava Anagnostiadis. And there's the number 367 of Macaulay Bishop. Sideways to the left-hand side was the back axle coming out of turn 10. You can now see the rain coming down. It's slow, but oh, Tommy van der Stroy spin straight on and off at turn 12. Rejoins And he sort of like as if to say, what on earth was that? And that was Mika van der Pavert. I'm not too sure if van der Pavert had a hand in it. The conditions are slippery enough as it is, and if it was unsighted or accidental, hang on a second, Jake Bezelbeck is leading. Okay. Now this says to me, as Macaulay Bishop goes rally crossing, he's gone off and just lost second. I think Jake Bezelbeck saw it coming and went, we're going on wets. Because now the rain is starting to come down. We've still got 6 3/4 minutes to go. I cannot, but if Jake Bezelbeck is on wets, that is an absolute masterstroke from the team at RTM Racing Team Margraf. And Jake Bezelbeck started 14th, and the rain is now coming. The rain is hitting hard now. It's gonna get to that point where some of these drivers are gonna go, I really wish I'd actually put my wetsuit on and put the wet tyres on. Adish Mehta out, Manolo Sandin out, Martin Gaiskens out, Michel Dier out. The rain's now starting to intensify once again. Ava Anagnosiadis out. We're down to 28 karts. You are on an ice rink right now for those drivers out there. It is absolutely teeing it down now, and it's really coming down. It's pelting down. Jaden Teen now up to 10th place. As you can see, Macaulay Bishop in his Team UK race overalls on slick tyres. As it's getting a bit tetchy out there, these drivers are really... This rain is really intensifying, of course. It's going to be the case that one driver is going to go off, and there is one off. A GKS driver, that's Jasper Lane. It's off the circuit, off of turn number 5. Just keeping my eyes out for any possibility of a decision being made. Reference the race conditions. A lot of the drivers chanced it, went onto slicks. I wasn't 100% sure about the weather conditions atmospherically up above us here at the race circuit. We have had a time penalty, 3 seconds being given to the 317. Robbie Stordeur, 2 wheels out of the tram lines on the race start, thereby breaking formation as Macaulay Bishop tries to keep the 367 Lando Norris entry very much along with Mika van der Pavert in front, and has just got through, but he's going to run a little bit wide. He's trying to apply the power. But in these conditions, if you're on slick tyres, you know who the best person would be to ask in this kind of situation? Just ask Jenson Button when he raced for McLaren at the 2011 F1 Canadian Grand Prix. 5 pit stops, and then beat Sebastian Vettel, who makes a mistake on slick tyres on a partially wet race circuit. And it's one of the... Freddie Ingram now, I think, has called it time. Has just thought, you know what? I'm not chancing it. Because in this kind of one-off event, you've also got to think about the mechanical sympathy. And the biggest part of it is also the chassis underneath you. Right, new penalty coming in. 386 gets a 5-second time penalty for push to pass, which effectively would be called a bump and run. So the 386 is Mika van der Pavert in P3. So I know for a fact. Now, am I seeing anything else apart from rain? I'm seeing hail again. I can see it hitting the roof just outside of the right end. So when I look at the start-finish straight, if I look out the right-hand side, there's a roof line and there are small specks of hail coming down. That's going to make it even worse for these drivers now. And if that starts intensifying, and we have what exactly we had in the lunch break earlier on, mechanical black flag has just been shown to the 333 of Matej Radenkovic. You can see the hail's coming down. Hail's now coming down. Oh, dearie, dearie me, I cannot believe this. A lot of these drivers deciding to go on slick tyres, and there's more drivers off, one of which is the 330 has just gone off of turn number 2. And that was Enzo Boll. Enzo Boll, that's going to be a very, very muddy kart. So yellow flags at Marshall Post 1. You can see now that it's not just rain, there is hail, there's small hailstones coming down from the sky. I think it's at Yeah, and it's starting to intensify in its own right. We are about 2.25 minutes plus an additional lap away from the end of this race. This is now where the drivers have just got to be very, very careful. There's Van der Stroys in the 301. He's ahead of Jaden Teen. Just behind them might be, that's possibly, that's the 368. Ralph van der Pavet. Daniel Stell has just parked it. So he's another one that didn't want to chance it either. There's also a Dams racing cart in there. Sebastian Koch making some good inroads. So, and now the rain and the hail have got away, but they have still got a worse track than what they started with earlier on. So now down to 26 drivers. Possibly make that 25 if Enzo Bol has retired. And that's Luca Thiel, that's Mika van der Pavet. Luca Thiel backwards off onto the mud and the grass off of turn number 2. And Luca Thiel picking up the kart by the back axle. His wetsuit boots going through the mud whilst pulling the kart back, unassisted. And this just goes to show, I mean, Enzo, the casualty list is insane right now. We have got Enzo Bol, Jori Schoens, Robbie Stodder, Mateo Radenkovic having a mechanical black flag, Daniel Stell, Freddie Ingram, Eva Anagnostiidis, Baptiste Michaudière, Martin Gaiskens, Manolo Sendar, and Aidish Mehta. That is a big, big list. That is 11 drivers out of this race. We still have 30 seconds to go, plus an additional lap. I'm sure there might be a bit more feverish activity in the pit lane, the dummy grid, before the second junior Rotax heat, which will be coming up next. But obviously that depends on if there is a bit of a delay accordingly. So Jake Bezelbeck, last time around, was leading, and Jake Bezelbeck still leads. I cannot believe what I'm going to say here. Jake Bezelbeck is leading by, according to the live timing, 53.9 seconds is his lead. Final lap is underway. Yeah, Jake Bezelbeck is on the final lap, and everyone else is being shown blue flags because Bezelbeck's just coming through out of turn number 4. I've just clocked him. Yeah, Jake Bezelbeck from RTM Racing Team Margraf. If I see that he's got wet tyres on that kart, it's going to be the best decision that team have made for him. Everyone else is just trying to get home. And everyone else is on the final lap now, but they're a lap down on him. Jake Bezelbeck has done an absolute blinder this time around. Who'd have thought it, from 14th on the grid? There comes Macaulay Bishop. I've just seen Tommy van der Stroys. Jaden Thien is coming through. Ralph van der Pavet, and also Lawrence Herboz. Now, where is Jake Bezelbeck? I'm keeping an eye for the 328. 326 has just come through. 370, 377, and there's Jake Bezelbeck. Bezelbeck is now coming through in the 328. And this has been one of the biggest margins I've ever commentated on, seeing a driver come across the line. Let's see it. Jake Bezelbeck wins by an absolute masterstroke, and I'm going to wait to see what happens, what the distance is, because the live timing couldn't keep up with it. There's Sverre Ubben off the circuit as well. Jake Bezelbeck is on his cool-down lap, whereas everyone else is still racing. So Jake Bezelbeck, let's see, is that kart on wet tyres? Yes, it is. RTM Racing Team Margraf have just pulled the biggest play on anybody in this race. Bezelbeck wins. I'm waiting for Macaulay Bishop. We've got to wait for the for everyone to cross the line, because a lot of people might have thought, well, that race was done and dusted. Jake Bezelbeck, I think, has won pretty much by nearly a lap. So Macaulay Bishop is coming through to take second place. So the checkered flag will wave. Jake Bezelbeck is on his way to pit lane. Macaulay Bishop finishes nearly 1 minute and 10 seconds behind. 69.081 seconds to be precise was the winning margin. Van der Stoys, third. Jaden Teen, fourth. Ralph van der Pavet, Lawrence Herbeau, Sebastian Koch, Scott Westhovens, Mika van der Pavet, Kevin Navis, Giorgio Markenstein, Dante Sima, Jasper Leenertz, Sverre Ubben, who's off the circuit, might not place in the top 15, but it'll be Lloyd Hare up from 31st to at least 14th. Ahead of Bram Plomp, Tom Longnoir, Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Alexander Lemau-Sikra, Luca Thiel, Puck Gubbles, and Wout Kirstens. Drivers out of the race: Enzo Boll, Jori Schoens, Robbie Stodder, Matera Denkovic, Daniel Stell, Freddie Ingram, Iva Anagnostiidis, Baptiste Michadier, Martin Gaiskens, Manolo Sendar, and Aidish Mehta round out the retirees. But Jake Bezelback winning by just under 70 seconds on wet tyres when everyone chanced on slicks, and the weather was clearly in his favour today for Heat 2 for Senior Rotax.